All right, guys. I just want to do a quick midweek check-in. Today is the 3rd of December, 2020. And there's just, a lot going on. And I'm hearing from a lot of people that are a little out of sorts, right? We've got a Cancer moon right now, and that Cancer moon is in a kind of a weak. That's funny. See that? Look at that. That's how it works, y'all. That Cancer moon is in a fading grand water trine with Scorpio Venus. So that's about intense feelings of love, beauty, supportedness, and then again that Pisces Neptune. So the moon and Venus and Neptune, right? This triplicity is really about feelings, right? It's about being in your feelings and claiming your feelings. And that moon is also squaring Mars, an Aries Mars. So there's a lot of, how do I express this? Can I express this? And there's a lot of danger of expressing things in a way that may not be the best or the most responsive way, right? That might be a little reactive instead. We've also got, of course, Chiron. Chiron's getting ready to go direct too. And Chiron is trining Mercury right now. So there might be some ways that we are feeling called to be reactive in our expression of our feelings. And our big boys, right? Our big three, Pluto and Jupiter and Saturn, they're up in Capricorn for just a little bit longer. Saturn is moving into Aquarius on the 16th. Jupiter will follow on the 19th. And then on the 21st, on solstice, we have that big Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. And we're going to talk about that perhaps this weekend, I think, because that's huge. It's going to be huge. And it's important to get right with the steerage, right? There's a lot of things going on, right? Venus is getting ready to move into Sagittarius fairly soon. And, we have a solar eclipse coming up on the 14th, right? At this next new moon in Sagittarius, which is all about how we relate to the abstract, right? As these two, Saturn and Jupiter, are getting ready to move into Aquarius, which is a very different feeling energy than the Earth energy, than those two big planets have been in for the last 200 and, they've been conjunct in the last 220 years, and then 200 in this Earth energy cycle. So we're really getting ready to see a shift. And so it's important to prepare in the, I don't want to say the right way, but in the fullness, right? It's important to prepare in fullness. Let me put it that way. Mercury is also getting ready to move into Capricorn, and the last full moon of this year is in Cancer. And what a beautiful bookend, because the first full moon of 2020 was also in Cancer, right? That's a nice parenthesis for this energy. And Cancer is all about home, family, tribe, and we've really had those subjects highlighted this year of all years, right? Home, family, tribe, your heart, your feelings, your origins, your roots, what you want to feel, how you feel most comfortable, where you feel most comfortable, what feeds your soul, how you deal with your feelings, how you are comfortable or not comfortable with your feelings, how you react when your feelings are hurt, right? Those are all Cancer things, whether or not you claim them or hide from them. You know, big deal, big deals. These are important skills, right? And so as they're important skills, we need to know those things. Big time. Big time, we need to know them. Let's see, what else is going on? So let's do a little preloading for this Saturn-Jupiter conversation we'll have later. So we know Saturn is about rules and boundaries and restrictions, and we know that, again, Saturn is about the ones that we set for ourselves, right? And Jupiter is about how we expand into those boundaries and beyond them, right? And so you cannot expand. Ooh, okay. All right, it's coming up, so we'll talk about it. Let's contemplate what actually Cancer is, right? And I don't mean Cancer the sign, I mean Cancer the manifestation, right? So Cancer is when your body's cells do not have the mechanism to stop their growth, okay? And so when you have unchecked growth, you have tumors. And so there has to be that boundary place, right? And so we consider growth to be a great, great thing. And it is, of course. Growth and evolution and expansion are what we're here to do, right? But just like even children learn by finding their boundaries and then testing them, finding their boundaries and then testing them. You can always expand your boundary, but you have to know where that boundary is. And unchecked expansion is that downside of Jupiter, right? And so we've had Jupiter and Saturn in Capricorn for quite a while, and this big conjunction that's coming up is in Aquarius. These big planets are moving into air energy from this Saturn energy, and so, from this Capricorn, Earth energy is what I'm really trying to say. And so if you contemplate, what does Saturn rule? Well, institutions and structures, right? And all sorts of things like that. And so this is how we've had this unchecked growth in terms of institutions, and they've pushed beyond their boundaries, right? They've overexceeded their boundaries, and so now we're having to restructure, reel in that unchecked growth that got ahead of itself, right? That simply just grew into unrestrained fashion. There was no check on those structures, those authority figures, those areas of Saturn growth. So anyway, we'll talk about that in a different video. Right now, we're just talking about this week. We're just talking about these emotions, these feels that everybody's all up in right now, right? As we lead up to this next this solar eclipse, right? And what is the key with this solar eclipse, right? Faith. It's about faith. It's about when you're in the darkness, you must have faith. So right now, you are recruiting your own faith. Yeah. And the way that we do that, of course, is through our feelings. So, so first we've got the moon and the Six of Swords, right? The moon is about those things that are hidden. It's about our feelings. It's about what we might not see, but we feel. The only way that we can get in touch with this energy is to feel it. You can talk about your feelings, but you can't talk about your feelings until you've felt them. And of course, we know our Six of Swords keeps coming in. So this is about moving away from those turbulent, right? We've got turbulent waters over here into this smooth sailing, right? Smooth sailing. And the key here is that we have someone helping, right? We have assistance. We have an oarsman. to assist us in our movement, that we are not alone. And what does faith teach us, right? That we're not alone. So this is about surrendering to your feelings and trusting. We've got the Four of Pentacles and the Tower. So again, the Four of Pentacles is a card. There are a couple of ways to interpret it, but what's popping in right now for me is what we were just talking about Jupiter and Saturn, right? This is preparation, because the Four of Pentacles is about having, right? It's about having plenty of resources, but it's about not having faith too, right? Because the Four of Pentacles can be about hoarding and not sharing one's resources, not trusting in abundance, right? And so we're witnessing this Tower year, really, as it's been thing after thing and resource after resource and belief after belief and structure after structure has just been toppled, right? All of those things we've held on to in terms of fear, right? Because what is hoarding but fear? I'm afraid I will not have enough. I'm afraid that I'll lose this memory. I'm afraid that I will need this later and I won't have it, right? But if we really trust in the universe, if we really know that we are the source of our own abundance and that the universe always provides for us, we don't need to hold on to things like this. We don't need the universe to come in and explode everything for us, because we willingly open our hands and release all those things that we held on to too tightly, right? So we've got the King of Swords and the Three of Wands. So the King of Swords, of course, we know that in Eileen land, the kings represent that restraint, right? The queens are the fullness, the embodiment. And then the kings are, yes, I understand. So swords are about ideas and expression and air energy, right? So this is about, the king is about having ideas, but holding on to them, right? Perhaps not being willing to share, perhaps being in this Four of Pentacles energy, right? The Three of Wands, though, the Three of Wands is about long-term planning. So this is about being patient and knowing that there's time to plan, right? Nothing has to be done suddenly. That if we plan things out, that we don't require this Tower to come in and explode things for us, because we're making plans, we're making preparations. And, you know, like I said last week, this is a time of course correction, right? We are in course correction mode. Saturn and Jupiter are getting ready to go into Aquarius. Everything's going to shift. We are correcting. We are self-correcting. And if we don't self-correct, then we're going to get corrected, right? That's simply the way it works. The universe whispers, the universe speaks, then the universe yells. And so it's always simplest to listen and choose your own. So then we have Justice and the Knight of Cups. And clearly for me, this is why I'm doing this right now, with this grand water trine, right? So Justice is, let's talk about Venus, right? So because Justice is the card of Libra, and Libra is ruled by Venus. So we've got Venus in Scorpio right now. Super intense, right? This is balance and harmony. This is about making those decisions that create what you're looking for in terms of your resources, in terms of love, in terms of finance. And the key here with this Knight of Cups, right? We've got that Cancer moon right now. This is about creating from your heart. It's about creating from your feelings, right? Certainly we can have our ideas and we can know what we want our long-term plans to be, but we have to create from our heart, right? This is where we get our power. Our power comes from our heart. It doesn't come from our ideas. That's simply where we find a way to put things into action. But our power comes from our heart. Always, always comes from our feelings. And the key here is that for so long, our structure, our power has come from our structures, right? From that earth energy, that Capricorn energy. And so now we're being asked to contemplate what our long-term plans are and put our hearts behind it, right? And make sure that we're not holding on to things, and that we're ready to move as our feelings ask us. So we've got 44. What a bonus, right? The thinker. So this is strategy, being analytical and logical. The ability to reason and strategize is the focus now. Take things at face value and follow the logical path. Your calculations will prove to be correct, for in this moment there is no deeper meaning than what is obvious. Things are exactly as they seem. You have all the information you need. Keep it simple, and you will win the game of life you are playing right now. So, again, this is about being in contemplation, but knowing that you have to be in alignment with your heart in order for your emotional turbulence to leave you, right? Otherwise, if you're holding on, you're going to get exploded. So, that's that Saturn and Jupiter. That's about building your box. That's about knowing what's right for you. Right. So, there is no other. And what this means is that there's no separation, right? Every pair of eyes you look into are your own. And the more quickly you are able to accept that fact, that all is one and there's no separation, then the more easily you're able to let things go, because in giving, you're giving to yourself. In receiving, you're receiving from yourself, right? And so you don't need that cataclysm in order to reorganize your thinking. If you can accept the fact that there is no other, then justice is easy, balance is easy, because there's no pitting against, there's no competition, right? There's no yours and mine, there's just ours, there's no us and them, there's just we, right? There's just one, unity. Unity is the goal here. Yep. That's what justice is all about, right? That's what those ideas are all about. That's what that long-term planning is all about. That Aquarius energy that's coming in is going to put us directly in this energy of there being no other. Aquarius is thoughtful. It's air energy. But it is also a very, very heart-based energy. Aquarians are signs. Aquarian energy has great love, great potential for love. They love everyone. There's no distinction between I love you or I love me or I love that guy over there. Aquarians love everyone equally, right? So be in your feels, right? Be exploring your feelings. That doesn't mean dive in, right? That doesn't mean step into that Chiron or Aries energy and be reactive. It means be responsive. Examine your feelings. That's how we move forward. Especially right now, like I said, Venus is getting ready to move into Sag. We're getting ready to have that solar eclipse. Saturn and Jupiter are both moving into Aquarius. The solstice is going to be enormous. And then we've got that Cancer full moon at the very end of the year. And then we move into 2020 and everything changes. Let's do it confidently, right? Let's do it looking up instead of looking back. Big blessings, guys.